Hey, let's go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline and welcome in a guy who's being inducted to the Patriots Hall of Fame tomorrow.
Wow.
We have managed to connect with him. Dante Scarnecchia is with us on Zolak Bertrand. Coach, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing great, Scar. It's good talking to you. I know I saw you last week at CVS, and you were out. He was out playing pickleball, Beetle, and he was also going for a run. Yeah, so that's how he's keeping busy. Hey, Scar, I saw the video when this first got announced to you. You were sitting at that big round table with Tippett. You know, when you're talking about the Hall of Fame, Mr. Kraft comes in and says, "I'd like Dante to stand up." You sort of looked taken aback by it. You had no idea this was coming, did you?
I didn't, and I honestly, I really wasn't paying attention to what he was saying. And then all of a sudden it was stand up, and I looked around, and everybody's looking at me, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, what happened here? And that's what happened.
You're big on getting guys in as far as, okay, I worked with this one player, and I'm a big fan of him, and fans don't understand how good this guy was. So it was Vrabel, Mankins, and Parcells that were up for going in as the voters. You were really pumping Logan Mankins. Why was that?
Well, because I think he's probably, arguably, the second or third best lineman that's ever played for the Patriots. And I think that when a guy like John Hanna says, you know, this guy could have played when I played, and I would have loved to have him on the other side and all the rest of it, I mean, how do you ignore that? Plus his body of work for the time he was here, and, of course, down in Tampa, it's exemplary, and he's as good as has played in this era as far as a guard is concerned in the league, I think.
Hey, Dante, it's Phil Perry. It's great to talk to you. Congratulations again on the honor. I think what fans really love to remember about your time here as a coach was how you got your players to play together. And there were so many guys that were cycled through over your course of your time here in New England, and consistently the lines were so good. Can you describe for us, for fans, what the key was for you in order to get guys to play together?
You know, it's been said a lot of times, and I didn't invent this saying, but if everybody's seeing the game through one set of eyes, all five guys are seeing the same thing. It's sure a lot easier for them to have consistency than if one guy's seeing it this way and another guy's seeing it that way and all the rest of it. And I think that's where the leadership up front, in particular, you know, let's be honest, the guys that really have to get everybody, you know, on the same page are the centers. You know, we've had a lot of them, and guys that, you know, have acquitted themselves very well. In my time there, you know, it was Woody and Copen and Wendell and Conley, and, you know, you can name, and of course David Andrews. You can name a lot of them, but they all had the same traits: great leaders, really smart guys, as tough as they come, and they got everybody to see the game the same way, and usually, you know, everybody was heading in the same direction when things were happening up front, and that's really what you want.
Dante, you mentioned some of the names over the years that you coached. I mean, John Hanna, you were on a staff of a team in the early 80s that John Hanna was playing on, and you were also at the end coaching David Andrews. I mean, that spans a great deal of time. I mean, you've spent more than 3 decades with the Patriots organization. It might be true that you have spent, you know, more time in your life associated with the Patriots than just about anybody. Have you thought of that?
I haven't thought of that, but in full disclosure, I coached special teams for 11 years here, and then 4 years on defense. So I was not coaching John Hanna or those guys, but, you know, at that time when I coached special teams, I coached the tight ends, so I knew, you know, what everybody was doing. And, of course, having a background on offensive line, I would always, you know, watch the tapes of those guys and how they played and the way they played and all the rest of it. And, I mean, you know, we're all products of or byproducts of what we experienced in the past. And, you know, I didn't invent anything as a special teams coach. You know, just take good footwork, take great sits on the guy you're blocking, and block them as long and as hard as it takes, and there's no time limits on anything. You just block them forever. and that's the way those guys played when I first came here, and I really appreciated that about them. And John and Pete Rock and Ron Wooten and Holloway and all those guys. And I just think that, probably that's the foundation of everything, and I appreciate them for all that.
How many friends and family you have coming tomorrow, Scar?
Too many to say, and I'd be embarrassed if I said it. And when you give my wife a free pass on invite who you want, look out.
Well, food's free, bar's free, everything will be fun.
I made it a point not to say anyone's names tomorrow like I just did a couple of times, because when you say one, you leave 50 out.
Right.
But I got to say one guy's name tomorrow, and that's Mr. Kraft, because he's paying for all this.
There you go.
He's paying for Susie Scarnecchia's party tomorrow. So
How about the head coaches? You managed to stay on staffs and span decades here with all kinds of different head coaches, which we rarely, if ever, see in today's NFL. That just doesn't happen anymore. How did you do it?
I honestly don't know. There were 6 of them, and I don't know why Raymond actually let the whole staff go. I mean, at the end of the season, he says, "Man, I'm bringing my own guys in. Thank you for all you've done." That was after coaching for him for a half a year, and he said, "I'm not keeping any of you. Thank you." And so I went home, and I'm sitting on the couch talking with Susie, trying to figure out our next step. And the phone rang, and it's Raymond, and he said, I've been thinking about this, and I want you to stay and coach the special teams and tight ends. And great, why that happened, how that happened, I honestly don't know. And then from there, I didn't know Dick McPherson at all, but Bev Scollins, his secretary, who I did know, he kept putting my phone messages on his desk in front of him. Well, finally, he just had to call me. And after he called me, I had a chance to interview with him, and he kept me. And then Parcells, Bill, I didn't know him, and he said that to me. So, hey, I don't know you, but there's guys that are coming here that have spoken up on your behalf. And if you want to work on defense and be a, quality control coach, you can do it. I said, I'll do anything to stay here, and especially with him. And because I really didn't want him. I had moved one time to go to the Colts, and I told myself, I swore I'd never move again unless I had to. So that happened. And then Pete, I did know from UOP, and he kept me. And then Bill, we worked together for 1 year, and he got the job. And coincidentally, when he got the job, I was in Green Bay and had been offered a job there. And I had told the head coach, hey, look, I'd like to talk to my wife first. And Bill got me at the hotel and said, don't sign anything, and I want you to stay and coach here.
Wow. It's a great story.
Yeah, it is.
Dante, I'd be remiss not to ask you about this year's team. I assume you're watching from afar as you have the last couple of years here since you've retired, but what is it about this team, and specifically the offensive line, you think that has been most difficult for them? Obviously, they've had a lot of bodies in and out, but what's your assessment of how they've tried to handle that position group this season with all the injuries?
I think their hands have been so tied with injuries, and 1 week it's this guy in, 1 week it's that guy in. There's no really other than David and to a degree Trent, but he hasn't been able to practice. And the right tackle, that's had a couple guys in there, and certainly at guards, and it's just a lack of continuity, and that's very important. And I think that's the biggest problem. And hopefully they can get that resolved. Hopefully they can get Mac into both a comfort level and a confidence level that he had, he's had in his 3 years here at times. But if they can get him playing with confidence, like some of these other young quarterbacks in the league, and I'll give you a classic example. 4 weeks ago, if I asked you to choose between Zach Wilson and Mac Jones, who would you take?
Okay,
Mac Jones. Yeah. Okay. 4 weeks later, what would you do?
Zach Wilson.
And I don't care if you answer it. So, but my point is,
I did. Zach Wilson.
But my point is, one is playing with a tremendous amount of confidence right now. I mean, really and truly, watch him play.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that hangdog look anymore. He's got some confidence, and he's not saying a whole lot. He's just going through the process. And I really appreciate that in that kid. And who's to say that won't happen 4 weeks from now over a course of time with Mac? I hope that's the case. We all hope that. And I'm not saying it's impossible and it's not going to happen. I damn sure hope it does.
Well, Dante, enjoy tomorrow, and hopefully Susie throws the party that she really wanted to throw tomorrow, and the entire family and all your friends get to enjoy it. It's a well-deserved honor, and congratulations once again.
Thanks a lot, and I appreciate you having me on. Take care.
Congrats, Dante.
Dante Scarnecchia, longtime Patriots coach, going into the team's Hall of Fame tomorrow in Foxborough.